107.5 WBLS, your number one source for R&B.
This is a exclusive. My name is Jameer Pond, and I am here with a man who is extremely persistent because he was here today, just walking in the rain, trying to get his story told, and it's a very timely and interesting story. And the brother got through security guards, got upstairs, just had a conversation with Hot 97, and we wanted to make sure that he was heard on the WBLS platform. So, my brother Carlos Martin, how are you? How you doing, man?
Good, brother, man. I'm truly speechless, humbly grateful. I know it ain't nothing but God, and I'm not trying to put God on nobody else. I can only speak from my journey and my walk that I'm here in your presence, man. I go from losing everything, my marriage, my job, friends, army buddies, to being on every national news channel, to be sitting in your presence right now. I can't, there's no word to explain it.
Right.
You know?
Powerful. Definitely powerful, and people may not be hip to the story, and if you aren't, we encourage you to go do your research. We know that a few days ago there was a South Carolina high school teenager yanked out of her chair and in the classroom, right, after not being able to talk on a cell phone, like whatever the case may be. Right. She was yanked and assaulted by the police officer, and you happen to know a little bit about that police officer because you had an encounter that was similar to that young lady's encounter.
Correct. And I definitely want to reach out to the young lady because she has an experience that no one else will be able to relate to unless you went through exactly what she went through. And the crazy thing about it is we went through it with the same person,
right?
Who was supposed to be protecting us. That doesn't make all police officers bad, but we just happened to come across someone who was posing as a police officer that was really a bully. And so my story goes, and let me tell y'all this, what's so amazing. It happened on the same day 10 years ago, on a Monday, same day. Just mine happened in 2005 where we didn't have the social media platform that we have right now. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so sorry that she had to go through what she went through. But at the same time, it's a walk that we'll be able to walk together on to be able to heal. And once she's okay, we can share our testimony with someone else, because you can't have a testimony without passing the test to be able to share the testimony. And so I'm just sharing my testimony, man. So
let's go back to that day in 2005. Let's start with your story, then we'll go back to hers. 2005 on a Monday in October 26th. Take us through the day. And you told me that you were with your wife. Take us through that day and what happened when the officer approached you.
Okay, so basically, we both had just got back from being stationed overseas. She was stationed at the 212th MASH, and she did a tour in Iraq. I was stationed at Landstuhl Hospital in Germany, and I went to Bosnia. At Landstuhl, we triaged Jessica Lynch and all these other different soldiers that went to Iraq. Some lost their lives, but the ones who came back injured, we triaged them, and then we sent them back to the States, right? We moved to South Carolina, and on this October 24th, 2005, I was doing a uniform inspection for PFC Carlisle. I lived about 4 miles away from the base. So that's why the military claimed they couldn't help me, because it happened off post. I was on my way home. I lived in Quail Run at the time. And in Quail Run, the apartment complex was shaped like a big square that had like a whole bunch of rectangles on the inside of it. The officer Fields was already there. He was out there looking for a young man flashing little kids, a white male flashing little kids. I was riding maybe 10 feet behind Officer Fields. When he enters my parking lot, eventually, and then we became parallel because it was a rectangle shape. I acknowledged him by nodding my head. I parked my car. I get out my car. I walk to the door to put my key in, and I hear a car peel off. So naturally, I'm going to turn around and want to see what's going on in my neighborhood.
Right.
The officer starts running towards me, and he's like, hey, you, come here. I'm like, who, me? He was like, yeah, you, come here. I was like, okay, how can I help you, sir? He was like, I'm out here for a noise violation. Well, I was like, it couldn't have been me. I just got home. Plus, I have a Richland County officer that lives above me. She wasn't home at the time, but her mother was home, and her mother saw the whole situation. He asked me for my license and registration. I gave him my license and registration. The only issue was I lost my picture license in Germany. So Alaska DMV sent me a paper license, which is still a legal license,
Right.
to be able to drive. I handed him all this information, and he looked distraught and became aggressive. And he was like, well, what the hell is this? And I was like, dude, if you just calm down, it's a paper license from Alaska. I lost my driver's license, and you can see I still have German tags on my car because I just got back from Germany. He was like, you will not address me as dude. I'm a Richland County officer of the law. I was like, well, you address me by hey, you. He was like, well, that's because I don't know your name. Well, I don't know your name either. And next thing you know, he just snapped. He slammed me on the ground. He started wailing on me, hitting me, punching me, and everything else. The lady who was a police officer's mother ran downstairs to get my wife, who is now retired out of the military, who was studying to be a nurse. She runs outside. She panics. She sees it. Thank God she was smart enough to go back in the house to get her camera phone. She comes back out, and she starts taking pictures, like 10 to 15 different pictures. I used to play semi-pro football in South Carolina, and I used to take all the kids to the games. So all the kids and their mothers started coming outside as the officer's on top of me, hitting me. He's making all these racial comments. So this isn't about race.
Yeah, racial comments like what? Can you specify?
How he's glad Johnny Cochran's dead. Welcome to the South. I'm nothing but another notch on his belt. He called me a nigger. You know, just all how he's going to ruin my career. All these ridiculous things, right? And so he brings out a can of mace, and he maces me. He uses the whole can of mace on me. Now, the thing about mace is, or the thing about being a soldier is, we're trained how to handle a chemical situation. So when he maced me, I reverted back naturally to my training. I closed my eyes. I held my breath. That way it didn't get in my pores or it didn't get in my eyes, so it wouldn't burn. You know what I mean? Because I didn't act like the normal civilian who would know how to handle that situation, he became more violent. He started kicking me and kneeing me in my stomach. When he seen the crowd drawing and watching them, the lady comes out, what are you doing? They haven't done anything wrong. He says, I don't want to cuss on your show or whatever else, but if you don't get your black ass back, I'm going to take you to jail too. So he pushes her. It happened to be Jarrell's mother. She lived right next door to me or whatever else. And so he gets on his radio and he calls for backup. He's frantic, you know what I mean? Sounding like it's definitely an emergency. So I understand why all the other police officers pulled up to our neighborhood the way they pulled up to our neighborhood.
Right.
He said, get her black ass. She has pictures of me. So Officer Joseph Clark attacked my wife. And as a husband, I have to watch this man slam my wife into the car. She dropped her cell phone, handcuff her. She's already detained, but that wasn't enough for this guy. He picked her up by the back of her arms and slammed her into the ground, face first with her arms cuffed behind her back. How do you think that made me feel as a husband, man? As a soldier who goes, we were both soldiers, we go overseas to protect our countries for the laws that we have here, for our lifestyle that we have here. But when we get back home, we're not protected because of the color of our skin. Just as a man, how do you feel not being able to protect the woman that you love? As a human being, how do you feel to watch someone else get beaten in front of you wrongfully for the color of their skin? So the only thing I could do was cry out to God and tell her that it was going to be okay. He frisked my wife. He had no right to touch my wife when there was a female officer on the scene, you know, in a sexual manner. So I'm sitting here and watch this man frisk my wife that I felt, from my opinion, that was sexually. He puts my wife in one police car, he puts me in another police car, and he's talking trash and talking, they're laughing it up or whatever else, and talking about how he got promoted to a microwave now or whatever that means in police talk, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And so he's still making all these racial comments or whatever else, and how he's going to ruin my career, and welcome to the South, and they can do what they want, they can do whatever they want to do, they're Richland County. So the paddy wagon comes. As they're putting us into the paddy wagon, I go in first. My wife comes in second. You know, we're both in tears or whatever else. And he tells my wife how he's going to take her to the hotel. He tried to say that the whole word hotel was a term for jail. But common sense tell you, you don't tell no woman that you're going to take her to the hotel.
especially when she's locked up against her will. Like, this
Exactly.
is clearly a sexual. It's turning into like more of a sexual.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah, disrespect.
And you know, we know people get taken into the woods and getting beat up by the police all the time. Not every cop does that, but some cops do things like that, right? So I was in fear for my wife's life or whatever else. The police officer in the front of the paddy wagon wrote a statement based off of what he heard, and I'm so grateful to this man today for the statement that he wrote. When they took us down to the booking office to book us or whatever else, they had Tashiana listed at some ridiculous height, like she was maybe like 5'11" or 6 foot or whatever. I'm not really sure. This is just an educated guess or whatever, right? So when she walked to the desk, the people didn't even recognize her. They were like, "Excuse me, you don't fit the description." So Tashiana aunt was a lawyer. Marshana was a lawyer. We gave her a call.
Tashiana is your ex-wife.
Yes, it's my ex-wife, right? Her aunt was a lawyer. We get out on bail. I immediately, excuse me, I forgot that EMS came to the scene, but we denied all medical care because we wanted it to be documented. You know what I mean? Not
What
cleaned away.
happened? Right. So
Right.
they couldn't alter a doctor.
Right,
up
or so we
anything.
look better than what really
Right.
happened, right? So the next day we go to the hospital to get evaluated. We go to, I go to my first sergeant to tell my first sergeant what happened. Now, mind you, I was soldier of the month, soldier of the quarter, MVP. I won trophies, you know what I'm saying? All these different things. I was a good soldier, right? Never had an Article 15. That first sergeant wound up leaving. I didn't have no problem when he was there. Then when the new first sergeant came in and the new sergeant major came in, I got treated like I was Rodney King. No disrespect to him, God rest his soul. What I mean by that is I got blackballed by my unit. I received Article 15s wrongfully. They wrongfully tried to send me to Korea behind my back. I got kicked out the hospital. All these different things happened to me because they were like, "You're young, you're black, you did it." I got treated as if I was guilty. So I'm reaching out to all these different channels. I'm doing congressionals. I'm writing the Alaska. Thank God for the Alaska mayor out there. He did his best to try to take care of me. Clybourne. I wrote all these different people, right? To no avail, with no help though, right? I went to the NAACP. I went to the Rainbow Push. I went to the Urban League. The NAACP didn't want to help me because I wasn't funding them or giving them money. The Rainbow, Jesse Jackson wrote back. They said they couldn't help me. The Urban League couldn't help me. WLTX couldn't help me. CBS. Everything that I'm doing right now, I did in 2005. The only difference is now they're listening. You know what I mean? If you go on the CNN website, this story has been there for the longest. I'm just grateful that CNN is now running it. No disrespect to them, but I wish they would have did it then. You know what I'm saying?
Let's fast forward today. October 26th, you see a familiar name flash across the...
No,
No.
not at all.
So how did you find out about the case with the young lady in Benfields?
I started acting, and I was doing an interview on this band called So Unique. Awesome band. They had a guitar player named Sheldon Ferguson who actually went to Spring Valley High School.
Wow.
Spring Valley High School happened to be right down the street from my house at Polo Common. The reason why I moved was because the police officers kept harassing me or whatever else. That's why I wound up moving. Sheldon sends the video to me on Facebook, and it says, "Who is this?" Immediately, I didn't even have to press play. I knew it was Benjamin Fields.
And how'd you know? Just from the thumbnail, you saw and you knew.
Bro, just like I could tell you the website, my website is ireport.cnn.com/DOC/DOC-7526. I remember it like it's yesterday, bro. Wow. Because I lived it every day. So when I seen it, I knew it in my spirit that was him. I knew it in my soul that was him because that man took everything from me. I lost everything because of him. So it ain't hard to recognize something that you sleep with every single day, you know? And I pressed play, and I just bawled, bro. I bawled in tears because the reason why that man was at the school was because of what he did to me. That's how he got taken off the road and got put in the schools. And to watch him do this to this 16-year-old girl, man, it's heart-wrenching because I never want nobody to go through what I went through. It ain't about race. It's about right and wrong. Now, what he should have done, he should have never been called in the first place. The teacher or the principal should have called that child's parent to get that child to get up. Was she wrong for not getting up? Yes. But who wasn't wrong at 16? Who at 16, you're going to tell me, America, that you never told nobody no? Let's be realistic. Let's not say, well, she should have did this because you didn't do it when you were that age.
Yeah.
None of us was perfect, but she never deserved the treatment that she got.
Right.
So you telling me it's okay for her to be flipped out her chair on her head? That's police training? It's okay. Even after you flipped her on her head, why'd you have to pick her up and throw her?
See, and that's what I didn't understand, but you make a good point, because there are some people that are coming to the defense, not necessarily of Benjamin Fields, but people are saying, well, she got what she deserved.
Exactly.
She got what she deserved because she wasn't listening. She stayed in that seat and she was on the phone. My thing is, okay, like you said, there's right and wrong.
Right.
Was she wrong? Absolutely. But did she deserve that type of treatment?
Correct.
Getting yanked and thrown across the room as a 16-year-old female.
Right.
I can't necessarily agree with that.
Right.
Because had that been a daughter of mine, a niece, my goddaughter, I don't know what I would have done as a man. Like, wrong is wrong.
Wait. Let's flip that, what you just said, right? Because that's such an outstanding point, and it just hit me, and I thank God for it just hitting me. Adrian Peterson got brought up on child abuse for whipping his child.
Wow.
So you telling
Yes.
me
Yep.
that a parent can't whip their child, but a police officer can beat their child? And that's okay?
And that's okay.
But see, America, y'all can jump down Adrian Peterson's throat and say he's wrong for hitting his child. He's wrong for, that's his child. But it's okay for a police officer to beat someone else's child? Are we that sick? Are we that blind? So you can suspend a man who has never done anything wrong, just looked at this, the MVP player in the NFL, and say he's wrong for whipping his child. But someone else can throw your child and beat your child because they have a badge? Well, where's that in the police manual?
I
Where's
guarantee
that
you
in the
can't
police
find it.
training? So what's so crazy is, and I'm going to do the duality of this, right? Because I've been posting videos on my page. It's amazing how many people say that girl got what she deserved.
Right.
But at the same time, it's amazing how many people talk about this man deserves to die. Well, then you're just like him. That man don't deserve to die. That man just deserves to face the same consequences if me and you went out on the street and assaulted someone else.
Right.
If we face jail time, he should face jail time.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't. That man don't deserve no death. I forget. How can you say that and it didn't even happen to you?
Yeah.
If I can forgive him and he beat me, who are you to say he deserves to die?
What do we do moving forward to ensure that him or anybody else like him can't do this to any other human being again?
Okay, I'm glad you asked, right? Check this out. We got this thing called snitches get stitches. Well, let's say that's true. How many people lost their lives because you didn't want to tell the truth, though? Good cops know there's bad cops, but good cops die because they didn't say nothing about the bad cop, right? But that works vice versa in the hood. We know there's gangbangers and drug dealers in the hood and everything else, but you don't say nothing about it. So they're allowed to continue doing what they do because you're not willing to stand up for it. So if you're not willing to stand up for the problem, why are you complaining about the problem? It's a big difference. We do a lot of complaining. We do a lot of whining. Oh, we ain't got no leaders. Oh, ain't nobody. We ain't Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, gone. All these great. Those were just regular men like anybody else. The difference is they looked in the mirror and they looked at themselves and said, "I'm gonna make a difference." When was the last time you looked yourself in the mirror and you said, "Ain't no good people out there"? You be that good person. You be everything that you claim that you want everybody else to be. And that's why I'm in the position saying what I'm saying now. And they asked me a question. Well, what if they take your life? Well, ain't we all gonna die one day?
Might as well die for something.
Man, there it is.
Wow.
See, the problem is it's not the race. It's not the colors. It's the system. It's the system that's perfectly designed for us to continue this same cycle. What are cycles? The generational curse. How we talk about, well, ooh, look, this generation of kids, they don't never want to listen. Well, guess what? Your parents said that about you, and their parents said that about them. When do we take the opportunity to build a bridge where this generation, the new generation, respects the foundation, and the foundation respects evolution? When we do that, then we have something. Then we can move forward. It ain't gonna be perfect, but it's a step.
Right.
I never thought I'd be here today, bro, but I took a step, and I kept stepping, blind faith, and look where I am today, seeing stuff that I never thought I'd ever see before.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that, you know, we bumped into each other and you were able to tell your story on a few platforms, you know, being up here in New York. And, you know, we're going to be fighting with you.
Right. I'm all the way from California. You
all
know
the
what I
way
mean?
from California.
And I'm in New York doing this.
Came through in the rain, and I totally respect you. The camera's winding down. We're losing. Just give your social media and where they can find you and how can we keep fighting.
Man, my phone number is the craziest thing. I'm still giving it. I don't care. It's 408-466-8238. I'm sorry, Mom. Forgive me. And my email is carlos.martin112@yahoo.com. One thing last that I want to say, though, how do we fix this problem? Every officer should have a body cam, and the body cam should automatically come on before they do anything. That way we don't have to guess what happens. And if your camera don't come on, then officer, you're wrong. Second, the officers need to go through ethics training, sensitivity training on how to deal with the public. And we need to, for the public side, because it works both ways.
Both ways.
The public needs to have classes available to them about laws and how to deal with the officers when laws are broken or when they are being mistreated. And we can move forward from there.
All right. Carlos Martin here. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming through. We appreciate you for keeping it real. Thank you so much, my brother.